Hey guys, I wanted to go over my divorce story because I feel like I'm in a position that that my story may help some of you guys out there and gals, maybe. So I got married kind of later. I'd say like at a good age, like 20, 26, 27. And soon after that, we had our first kid. Now, anyways, we were married about 4 years or so. And, we had our ups and downs. Like, I think most people uh, didn't have as many problems as we did, but we had a lot of issues, and I had a lot of issues that I was needing to work on. So she wasn't perfect, I wasn't perfect. Anyway, ended up I cheated on her, she cheated on me, and um, it's been 3 years after we've been, 3 years now that we're divorced, and she's still with the guy that she cheated on me with. She doesn't consider it cheating. We were married. We're still married, right? One thing I always kept in mind was my sins don't forgive her sins, you know. And even if you're not religious, I mean, just because you did something doesn't mean wrong. Doesn't mean that just because you did it, it's not wrong for the other person to do it. So, um, after the divorce, she tried to disappear with the kids. That was the biggest thing. I had two boys. Towards our towards the end of our relationship, my youngest boy he was about 3 months, and he was a little older than that. He was about 6 months, and but then she disappeared. I had my oldest boy. She tried to disappear. I had my oldest boy in some classes, some specific classes, um, speech therapy and things like that. Um, and she went up there with her mom. And this is one thing. My ex-wife, she listened to her parents a whole lot. I mean, her parents had input in our marriage a whole bunch, and her parents were her mom was abusive to her dad. So I mean, as much as an abusive person could give advice to somebody, she loved her daughter, um, but maybe not the best person to get advice from. She was abusive to the point where if we went out, like me, my wife at the time, and my wife's wife at the time, my ex-wife's dad and mom, right? Well, the dad would be driving, and he's just driving, and she would freak out and be like, "Hey, um, if you want to kill somebody, do it when you're driving by yourself. Stop acting like a dumbass." And it was that kind of relationship, and it was always her pouncing on him, and I'd be in the back seat, like, like what's going on here? Like, she's nuts, I just kept my mouth shut. Like, what was I gonna do? She would ask me, like, "Yeah, you don't want to get killed, right?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I guess, like he's just driving. He drives all day, just like anybody else." So she was getting advice from the mom and the dad. You know, I could never be in that type of relationship where a woman is just yelling at me and calling me a dumbass. Like, it would be it would be an argument at that point. But he never argued. He just smiled through it and had this nervous laugh. Huh, 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 huh. And then she would say, "Oh, you're a dumbass smiling. You're so stupid." She looked like just abusive, you know. But anyways, She got advice from her parents all the time. And her mom went to this school that I had my son in, and it was a great school. You know, four stars. Everybody had good. They had good reviews, and like I really did my research, and I was paying for it. And they just took him out of school. Just took him out of school. Put him in daycare. I tried calling. I tried texting. I had no, like, I couldn't get a hold of them. Like I didn't see my kids for like a month after she decided to leave. And I tried to fight as much as I could, like for 2 years. It was like 2 years, and still I have to deal with some stuff now. It's like 3 years. It's about 3 years now, 3 years and a half. So now, it's a little bit over 3 years and a half. So now, like, she has the same guy that she's been with for almost 4 years, and he decides he wants to go to Colorado. So she brings up, hey, in about 2 years or a year, I'm moving to Colorado. I'm like, okay. Now this is me after this is me calling. I call like every other day to try to talk to my kids. I'm trying to be as most as I can involved in their life, and I play with them at the park. Like, I'm a good dad. Like, I know I'm a good dad. I worked really hard to being a good dad. Like, I've read books, but besides the books, like, I just took the time, and that's what it is. Like with kids, like you just take the time. Yeah, you got your life, and kids help you with your life. Like if you need to wash the car, like boys, especially I got two boys, they'll help you wash the car, and it's fun. And you wash the car, you get stuff done. Oh, we need to clean the car, the inside. Like they'll help you clean the inside. Oh, go grab trash and throw it in the trash. Like boys, if you direct them, they will help you. I don't know anything about girls because I don't have a daughter, but it's just about being involved. And um, I understand a lot of guys aren't where I'm at, but it took a lot of work to get where I'm at. For me, it might not be so difficult for you. Like I had to learn to be a dad, and a single weekend dad. Every other weekend, I get these boys, and I get them and I try to get them as much as possible. So, I'll be calling the mom, hey, can I have them this day? Can I have them that day? You know. But she pretty much kept me out of everything. She doesn't tell me about school. She doesn't tell me about when they go to the doctor or something happens. She just sets up everything. Dentist stuff, like they're getting their teeth done, ear infection stuff to get tubes put in their ears. Like I'm not told about anything. Like it just kind of happens. And I guess I could try to fight some of this stuff, but then it's like lawyers. You got to pay for lawyers. You got to argue, and I could do that, but a lot of times, from um, friends that I've known, other single dads, they fight it, and they still, like in Texas, they don't do much. So it's all mainly when the woman wins, and that's how our society is. So it was painful for me to have to not be around my boys. Like I wanted to be a dad, I wanted to teach these boys right, and I do, but I have so limited time with my boys that it's I can't really be. I only have them for 4 days out of the month, so every other weekend, right? 4 days out of the month. That's 4 days out of the month. Saturday, Sunday, right? There's no time for me to be a real dad. Like, there's no time. And you got to accept that. As a single dad, if you can't win custody or shared custody, you know, um, you got to deal with that. And for me, I left them in God's hands. That's how I felt like, there's nothing. I looked at the problem, and there's nothing I can do um, except leave them in God's hands. I could get a lawyer. I plan to get a lawyer here soon and try to get shared custody somehow. Um, and we'll see where that goes. But it takes work, fellas. If you're in this situation, it's not easy. If you've ever seen, I compare it to The Never Ending Story. If you ever watched that movie, if you haven't, I recommend it. It's a classic. But yeah, The Never Ending Story. So there's this part in the movie where they're going through a swamp, but the swamp is pretty much mud. It's just mud, and the kid and his horse. It's a boy, young. He's like maybe 13, and he's adventuring through this land. But him and his horse, he has a horse with him, and they're in this swamp, walking in this. It seems like a never-ending swamp, and it's just mud. It's just muddy, and they're walking in this muddy swamp. And the horse gets to a point where he doesn't want to go anymore. And Atreyu, the boy, that's his name, and he's pulling the horse, and he's saying, and he's crying. He loves this horse. It's his friend. They're adventuring, together, and he's alone, and they're trying to get out of this muck, and the horse is he's not walking anymore. He's stuck in this mud, and the mud's hard to walk through, and it seems like it's never ending. And this boy, Atreyu, he just starts crying. He's like, come on. He's pulling the horse. Come on, let's go. Let's go. And he starts, kind of crying. And he can't get the horse out of the muck. Now, depression's like that. People can try to be Atreyu in your life, but you're the horse. If you decide not to walk anymore, if you decide to quit, that's it. You gotta get yourself out of the muck. Nobody's gonna get you out of the muck. As much as Atreyu tried, he couldn't get that horse that he loved. So no loved one can get you out of the muck. Not if you get a new girlfriend, if you get a new wife, it's not gonna happen. You gotta decide. If you decide, you're gonna decide either way. You're gonna decide to either stay in the muck, or you're gonna decide to keep going and get out. And for me, I decided to face my problems head on. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. Um, I'll drink now. I have no issues. I have no issue with drinking. But I just wanted to be clear-headed, and I wanted to. You gotta forgive yourself for things you did in the past, things that happened to you in the past. People tell you to love yourself, and it's easier done than said, or it's easier said than done. I never knew that till I got divorced. So, some people, they're smarter than I am. I'm not the smartest, but I'm 32. I got divorced about 4 years ago, and it's been work ever since. I've been working on myself, and on I guess myself, it would be financially too. I'm working financially. I'm trying to get myself in a position, but I'm late. If you're young, take full advantage of everything, because you're not promised tomorrow. And the more time you're wasting sulking, you're not you're not you're not getting better. You're not bettering your situation. So feel your feelings. If you're sad, if you're lonely, these are things that you need to look inward. You got to feel those feelings. You got to feel them. One thing that helps me is talking to myself. I'm like, yeah, I feel pretty lonely right now. I'll be in a room by myself. It's quiet after my boys leave, and maybe some of you guys can relate, because it's like crazy fun, and then like You know, it's just madness. And then the boys get picked up, and it's just quiet. You know, it's a hard transition. It's hard to transition like that and then it's hard to transition from being quiet, a quiet room, to like boys wrestling and you throwing them and like doing all that wild stuff. So I know this is um, a long video, but it's a long process. You know, it's taken me a long time to get here where I'm at, and I'm telling you, like now it's a lot better. Like I'm happy. I'm in a spot where like I know I'm gonna be successful. It took me a long time. I pay child support. I pay 800 a month. It's not a lot for two boys, but it's a lot for me. I mean, I would like to have $800 extra. Plus, I don't claim my kids on, this independent woman. Like I do everything. It's such BS because you're getting a tax return. Like I don't claim these boys. You're getting 5,000. You're getting 5,000, 7,000 a month just on tax return. Plus, you're getting 10 about 10 grand from child support. Plus, all the other help, all the other forms of help that single moms get versus single dads. Single dads don't get much of anything. But uh, things that have helped me out. So, meditation. Some people aren't into it. Meditation in some form or manner is going to help. You got to look inward. You got to look at the problem in your head and just figure it out. It is what's going on here. Why am I feeling this way? Okay, maybe you don't understand it. I feel this way because this sucks. It does suck. Life sucks sometimes. Like you got to take full responsibility. You know, um, I drove here. This position that I'm in is because of my choices. And you got to take full responsibility. Now, how do you get out? That's what you got to figure out. How do you enjoy the time as you're getting out? Because it's a long process. It takes some. For me, it took a few years. For others, it may not take that long. For others, it may take longer. Um, but you got that choice to get out of the muck. You choose. You ultimately choose what life you want. Meditation, Ajahn Brahm. Look him up. It's Ajan Brahm or Bram. That's Brahm, I believe. Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey is another one. He helped me out financially. I paid off a lot of credit cards, not debit cards, credit cards that I had. Plus, after the divorce, my ex-wife was sliding those credit cards everywhere. You know, um, who else? There's Rolo Tomasi. He'll give you a good understanding of just how to focus on success and not focus on women. It's important stuff. It's good stuff. Facts. They're factual. A lot of factual things there. Um, there's this other guy. His name is with cars or something, but he does a lot of the Rolo Tomasi stuff. But I follow him. He's a bald guy with a beard. I forget his YouTube video, but he's really good. I actually listen to him more than I listen to Rolo Tomasi. Um, just because I don't know, I just like how he is. But he always says chase excellence, not women, and it's so important, guys. It's so important to do that. You know, through all this, I learned we are definitely stronger. Men are definitely stronger than women. I mean, women suffer, in their own way, but we definitely like. I'm paying child support. I don't get a tax return any year. I don't ever get a tax return. I would have been homeless right after my divorce. if it wasn't for me living with my parents. And I know some people won't have that. They can't go to their parents. Um, and I was just blessed. Like I was just blessed in that aspect, um, to be able to, and I was paying rent to them, but it's still a blessing. I mean, it wasn't. I was paying about $400 a month. Um, so yeah, it's just. I know some people don't have that, but if you can, I mean, that's how I got out of a lot of my credit card debt. And that's it. You got to work on yourself. I did a lot of meditation. I did a lot of meditation. I learned to love myself. That was the biggest thing. One thing that I did, like, when you feel this is what helped me. Like when you feel love, like I love my boys, and like they would come home, and they'd say "Dada," and like I would just hug them, and it'd be like this love hug, big bear hug, and like that feeling you get from that big bear hug, like you love it. It's just love, and I imagined myself. This part of my was part of my healing and part of my meditation. I imagined the hug that I was giving my son. I imagined me giving myself that same hug and saying, "You forgive yourself for what you've done." We all make mistakes, some bigger than others. But you can't move forward looking at the past. Well, yeah, you start telling yourself mentally, like, "Oh, you're shit. Like, you did this. Like, this is the reason. This is all fucked up." And you start beating yourself up. And I've done that all my life. But now I'm at a point where I don't ever do that. Like, mistakes happen. You gotta learn from them, and you gotta get better. And I'm definitely better. Like, it takes time, guys. It takes time to get here. Single dads, after divorces, become alcoholics. Um, they seek a permanent end. Um, Depression. There's so many things that we go through, and we don't have a community. Guys aren't talking. We don't talk to each other. You know, guys don't really talk to each other. We don't group up and be like, and have like real conversations. We just say, hey, nice day. This is the typical like guy, um, conversation. So it's just how we are, and so you got to find it for yourself. You got to definitely get yourself out. People, if people are trying to help you, that's great. But they can never push you. They can never pull you out of the muck. You got to pull yourself out of the muck. And that's pretty much my story. I mean, there's a lot of other details in between where she was nasty, like after our divorce. Like she would do some really messed up things. And it's just typical. It's typical, really. There's women that if you ever argue with a woman, she'll go as soon as she stopped like making any sense and she doesn't have facts, she'll be like, "Well, you just probably have a small dick and that's why you're angry." Like that's the trump card. Oh, you just somebody hurt you. Somebody hurt you. Like why are you like this? Somebody hurt you. Or um yeah, those are too many things. There's another one in there, but I can't remember it. Yeah, so if you've ever argued with a woman and like they can't just tell you facts, or you don't accept their just magic theory, they will go straight to that. And I've heard it. So many other guys that are doing what Rolo Tomasi's doing, like they've heard it, and it's I'm no pro. I do know myself. That's and I've healed and these other guys have healed through, after divorces. And so we know how difficult it is. We know that some guys, they stay in the muck, and we know that we can help. And that's what this is about. So hopefully my story, I mean, my ex-wife has threatened to leave so many times and take away the boys, and like, what can I do? I mean, I've asked other guys, and that have had lawyers, and they tell me, they're not they can't, you're not gonna win anything. Like, yeah, like she could just move and up and leave, and it's not like they're gonna arrest her. They're not gonna take away the kids and give them to me. You know, that's what they're saying. So, and these guys have been through the divorce, and they've paid for the lawyers, and they've, so I mean, there's so many other things. She uses the kids against me to hurt me. There's nothing else that can hurt me. So of course she's gonna use the kids to try to um, defeat me in some way, or make me feel like crap in some way. So that's what it is. It is what it is, and it's not anything abnormal. It's typical behavior. It's she was hurt, so she feels like I need to go through the same hurt, and I'm just trying to make my life better. I got my finances together. Um, I'm working. I'm always working, and I just got goals. So that's where I'm at. I'm working. I'm happy. I do definitely want to get to a better place. Uh, Dave Ramsey will teach you all about finances and how to get it together. He's changed my life. So you guys got to work. It's life is tough. Life is tough. It can be, and especially when you're just trying to figure all this stuff out, and you're going through depression. You know, um, it's tough. It gets the toughest. And anybody that's thought of a permanent end, that's the hardest thing that you can go through. It's being stuck in the muck. It's being in a swamp where you can't see the end of the swamp and thinking, like, I'm just stuck here. I'm just stuck in it. But you're not. You can get out. It just takes steps. You got to keep going. You got to keep walking. And that's all it is. It's as simple as that. You may not be feeling good, and you got to accept that. You got to know that. You got to tell yourself, you know what? This sucks. It really sucks. But you got to keep going. You got to keep going. You could get stuck. You could get stuck in the muck and not do anything. You choose. Ultimately, you choose. It's your choice. You can stay in the muck. It's not a happy ending. I'll tell you that. If you stay in that muck. Um, so I hope you guys got something out of this. It's a long video. It is a long video, and if you did if you did watch it all the way through, uh, and got something out of it, I'm glad. That's the whole purpose of the video. Later, guys.